Bitcoin, it's called a digital gold, it's called the future of money, and it's a hedge against inflation. But what if I told you that Bitcoin might actually be the biggest financial scam of our time? Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the crypto ecosystem, exposing the fraud, manipulation, and speculative hype driving Bitcoin, and why you should think twice before investing. Bitcoin's story starts with 3 key selling points that makes everybody's panties get all excited. A limited supply of 21 million coins, decentralization of a currency, and freedom from government control. This was the premise behind Bitcoin and why it would be a great changer for how we interact with each other financially. But when you strip away all the buzzwords, here's the reality. Bitcoin has no intrinsic value, no earnings, no dividends. If you think it has intrinsic value, you are going to lose a lot of money in some way, shape, or form. Maybe not on Bitcoin, but on some other thing. Its entire worth depends on people believing it's worth something more tomorrow than today. You're hoping that you wake up tomorrow and somebody else says, I will pay you more for that. So you might sit there and say, well, you've said that before. Everybody keeps saying that it keeps going up in value. That's what happens during hype. Look at the tulips back in the 1600s. Why did those keep going up in value? If Bitcoin feels familiar, it's because we've seen these speculative bubbles many times before, and we will never stop seeing them. Think about cannabis stocks like Tilray, which skyrocketed to $300 in 2018 before crashing to $1.41, a 99.5% loss. Electric vehicle companies like NIO peaked at $66.99 before plunging to $470. Workhorse going bankrupt. Tattooed Chef going bankrupt and going under. What do these bubbles have in common? A story that's too good to resist, and prices that can't be justified, but more importantly, human envy and FOMO. People can't stand being the ones missing out on the skyrocketing price. Now, I realize we're doing this video during a time when Bitcoin cannot stop going up. So of course, you can look at this going, Paul, you're wrong. I could be wrong. But let's understand what an investment is. Because a lot of people say I'm investing in Bitcoin, and I always write immediately speculating in Bitcoin. And guys, there are other things that people speculate into that I've done. Artwork, baseball cards. These things are all speculative. Why? They don't create anything. They don't generate anything. But when you buy a stock of a company that's generating cash, if the market went away for that company tomorrow, you would still have access and a claim to the free cash flow in the bank account and the assets of the business. And until the stock market opened again, let's say 20 years down the road, that business would continue to get more valuable as it drove revenue and profit. But let's take away the value of Bitcoin. How are you going to interact? How do you know what your Bitcoin is worth before you buy something? Supporters claim that Bitcoin could one day replace fiat currency or rival gold as a store of value. But there's no clear roadmap or economic foundation supporting these claims as of now. And people who try to say that, well, what about gold? Yeah, what about gold? Gold has thousands and thousands and thousands of years of evidence that it has other uses besides just a backing of currency. Now, we don't use it to back our currency anymore, which has led to massive inflation. But how is Bitcoin the solution for that when Bitcoin itself is valued in the very dollars it wants to replace? Why was Bitcoin created? It was created originally to keep transactions away from the government. Guys, do you think the government's ever going to allow that? If the US government ever thought that people were getting away with defrauding them by using Bitcoin, all the government has to do is say, Bitcoin's gone. It's done. Another thing that's interesting, whenever I hear people talk about the merits of Bitcoin, I say, great, tell me how you value Bitcoin. And they list all these things about Bitcoin. And I say, okay, you said a lot of qualitative things, which is wonderful. Now let's change the price of Bitcoin by adding 2 zeros. Are all your statements still true? Yes, they are. Okay, let's take 3 zeros away. Are all your statements still true? Yes. And it's not an investment. Because if I look at a company like Microsoft, and I name all the reasons why it could be a good or bad investment, if I add 2 zeros to it, it becomes a bad investment immediately. Those statements aren't all true. If I take 2 zeros away, those statements are even better. But with Bitcoin, as much as I hear people say the fundamentals are there, there's limited supply. Guys, I can take a dump in a bag. It's the only bag of my feces in the entire world. Does it make it valuable? Not necessarily, because you have to have a use for that. And you might sit there and say, Paul, you're missing it. There's so much use for Bitcoin. Guys, I own 8 businesses upstairs. I own 1,000 apartments. I own luxury rentals around the world. Not one time ever in all of these things I've done has anybody said to me, Paul, do you accept Bitcoin? Not once. Now, the internet. There was a lot of fraud and speculation on the internet. Didn't mean the internet was a fraud. And that's why I always say crypto in its current essence will not succeed. It could change. If the US government came out and said, we're making Bitcoin our official currency, but my guess is then the price of the currency will still drop in the long run. Why? Because it has to equate out and there's too much euphoria around it. There's too much fraud right now. Look at the people around you who love crypto. If you've been around investing for a long time, these are the people who always get burned. Let's look at some of the problems with this early adaptation of Bitcoin. In 2022, FTX raised over $1.8 billion from investors, promising safety and transparency. Behind the scenes, founder Sam Bankman-Fried funneled customer funds to his trading firm Alameda Research. The result? A bankruptcy that temporarily wiped out billions in customer funds, according to the SEC. Now, they were all made whole at some point, but it took a long time, and it took a rebound of Bitcoin's prices for that to happen. In 2023, Binance and its CEO CZ, who claimed to be the adult in the room, pled guilty to federal charges of money laundering and failing to register as a money transmitter. Guys, if it's supposed to be under the radar and away from government control, why are these things happen? The Department of Justice's $4 billion penalty marked one of the largest in U.S. history. And remember, guys, this led to everyone requesting that the government regulate crypto, which absolutely melted my brain. Crypto was created to avoid all the government scrutiny, all these things to avoid government interaction. And then the crypto people said, please come save us. Guys, this is proof that the world of crypto is running around with their heads cut off. They have no idea what they want. It's purely a speculative asset. It generates nothing, just like artwork. But at least with artwork, I cannot go create another Van Gogh. Now you might sit there and say, well, there's only 21 million Bitcoins allowed. Okay. But guys, it's coding. At some point, if they need to make more crypto, they'll figure out a way, more Bitcoin. And if they don't, they're going to create more and more cryptocurrencies, which is what's happened over time. At one point, there were over 20,000 cryptocurrencies out there. In 2023, the FBI reported that Americans lost $5.6 billion to crypto scams alone, with investment fraud accounting for $3.96 billion of those losses. The real cost of Bitcoin isn't just in losses, it's in the lives it disrupts. The FBI highlights scams like pig butchering, where victims are groomed to invest their life savings into fake crypto platforms. In 2023, retirees lost over $1.6 billion to crypto fraud, making the most targeted demographic. Crypto's decentralized nature makes it an easy playground for criminals, from hackers to scammers. Now, Bitcoin's decentralized nature is often celebrated as a technological breakthrough, but it's also made crypto a prime tool for criminal activity. And by the way, that is going away. There is no way the US government, who owns crypto, is going to allow crypto to have transactions without them knowing about it. You might not remember, but there was a time when crypto was being promoted as tax-free. You can sell your gains, and guess what the IRS did? No. If that's an asset, we want our change. We want our cut. Between 2017 and 2021, Binance, the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange, processed over $2 billion in transactions linked to illicit activities, including drug sales, investment frauds, and cyber attacks. One notable example involved North Korea's Lazarus hacking group, which laundered millions in stolen funds through the exchange. This kind of criminal exploitation is not an isolated issue. Bitcoin ATMs have emerged as a new tool for scammers. Fraudsters impersonate government officials or claim fake emergencies, pressuring victims to deposit money into Bitcoin ATMs, which are then transferred directly to scammers' wallets. Now, guys, you're going to sit there going, Paul, everybody has scams. Cash has scams. You're right. But there's this new cryptocurrency, this new way of giving money. Do you think the government's going to allow that to happen in even more common fashion? Look at cash, for example. If you go to a bank and you open an account, and in any given year you deposit or withdraw in excess of $10,000, you have to sign for it. You have to make a report to the IRS about this. That's how the government watches you. So you think they're just going to let you do whatever you want with crypto without any regulation whatsoever? You're out of your mind. The government does not want competition. Almost every crypto company has been implicated in some sort of fraud or some sort of SEC investigation, nearly all of them. In addition, when you see assets being promoted by celebrities, is that really an investment? How often you see companies out there making commercials for Berkshire Hathaway? How often you see Microsoft and those guys making commercials for buy our stock? But celebrities like Matt Damon, Tom Brady, Kim Kardashian have all pushed Bitcoin and been sued for it, making it feel legitimate to the masses. FTX, Crypto.com, these guys have even sponsored sports arenas and ran ads featuring A-list stars. But these endorsements weren't about financial advice. They're about lining their pockets and doing more hype to promote the price. The history of Bitcoin has obviously been riddled with rises and crashes. Guys, is that what you want to see from a currency that is the fundamental backbone of the economy that everybody thinks it is? Come on, give me a break. In 2017, it hit a price of $14,400. In 2018, it hit almost $18,000 before crashing to the low 3,000s in 2019 and then rallying all the way to 60,000 in March of 2021, falling again down to the low 30s, recovering to 60,000 in October of 2021. Guys, the ride's been insane. But when you compare this to other assets Bitcoin is compared to, the price fluctuations simply don't occur. But just like every other thing in the world, when Bitcoin does well, the great stories follow. When Bitcoin does poorly, the bad stories follow. But what I have noticed is the correlation between Bitcoin and QQQ, a highly technologically driven value driver in the US economy. The bull case for Bitcoin, I believe, is best examined by following its most popular and accepted experts. And I put experts in quotes there, guys. Michael Saylor has made the base case for Bitcoin, stating that it'll account for 7% of global wealth, with each coin being worth $13 million by 2045. Guys, if you bought a piece of real estate that you wanted to be worth X amount of dollars, you know it has to generate every year in profit to do that. Stock, same thing. But to get to those levels would require 29% returns per year for the next 20 years. His bull case calls for almost $50 million per coin and accounting for 22% of global wealth by 2045. But guys, remember, this has nothing to do with fundamentals. You might think it is. It is not. Stop convincing yourself otherwise. The best part is when I hear crypto people say they just don't understand. I don't hear Warren Buffett saying that. I don't see Howard Marks saying that. I don't hear any of the smartest investors who have the track record of doing so great over long periods of time. You know what they do? They teach. But when I see on Twitter, oh, they just don't understand. What do we understand? That every investment's the present value of all future cash flows and Bitcoin has no cash flow. The dynamics that make up Bitcoin reaching these prices that Michael Saylor has talked about include a fixed supply of only 21 million coins, global accessibility, and resistance to censorship and manipulation, which will then lead Bitcoin to become as valuable as gold, which would make it worth $13 trillion. Now, guys, this journey also includes a new group of buyers, like asset managers, countries, major investors buying into Bitcoin. And I think part of the reason, my personal opinion is, they just don't want to miss out because so many people are demanding it. Give the people what they want. Included in this mix are wealthy individuals with billionaires claiming it's common for billionaires to have 1% allocation of Bitcoin. Maybe so. Gold holds 3.9% of global wealth and Bitcoin is just 0.35%. And if it grows to just 3%, still below gold, the market cap would be 20 trillion and push the price to 1 million per coin. But guys, again, there's no fundamental reason behind that. Just like there's no fundamental reason behind gold, yet we have thousands of years of data to show that gold has an ulterior use besides just being used as backing for currencies. But what's amazing about all this is it's all these speculators who are just relying on other people to see the value. And I see that on Twitter all the time. Look at it this way. Only this many people own crypto, own Bitcoin. Imagine when the masses see it. That is not a fundamental investment case. That is purely the greater fool theory. Somebody else will pay more for it than I did. Claiming it's basically digital gold, and because of that, it'll command the same percentage of global wealth, that to me is not an investment thesis. It's a hopeful pipe dream. The prominent investors, Howard Marks, Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, Mohnish Pabrai, Michael Burry, they talk about trading it. They sit there, even Burry talks about trading it, but they have skepticism towards Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Buffett, often referred to as the Oracle of Omaha, has criticized Bitcoin for its lack of intrinsic value, stating cryptocurrencies basically have no value and they don't produce anything. He further emphasized his stance by remarking, I don't have any Bitcoin, I don't own any cryptocurrency, I never will. Now, a lot of people will tell me, well, he said the same thing about tech. No, he never said he never will. He said he doesn't understand it and therefore he doesn't buy it. But now that he's understanding more tech companies like Apple, he started to buy some. Charlie Munger, Buffett's longtime business partner, was even more forthright in his condemnation of Bitcoin. He has described it as worthless artificial gold and liking its trading to just dementia. Munger has also compared Bitcoin to rat poison and criticized the cryptocurrency market for its association with illicit activities. Monish Pabrai, very person we've interviewed on this channel, an investor known for his adherence to Buffett's value investing principles, shares a very similar outlook. He's expressed doubts about Bitcoin's future, aligning with Buffett and Munger's views. On our channel, he said, Bitcoin and crypto is going to zero. Collectively, these investors' critiques highlight concerns about Bitcoin's speculative nature and its perceived lack of fundamental value, cautioning against its inclusion in traditional investment portfolios. Guys, I hate to be a snob, but I've never met somebody that I respected in the investment world who said they like Bitcoin. Everybody I know who says they like Bitcoin is somebody I would never, ever talk to about investing. I just laugh about it. By the way, do you know how many people tell me they're a crypto expert? Like every single person who talks about crypto says they're a crypto expert. That's really odd to me. If you still want to get into it, treat it as a gamble, not an investment. Day trade it. We believe in trading here. Trade it as an asset. That's fine by me. But diversify into traditional investments like ETFs or assets with intrinsic value, such as ETFs that are driven by S&P 500. Always conduct thorough research and never trust unsolicited investment advice, especially from social media or unregulated platforms. The Bitcoin story is absolutely captivating, but the evidence to me is clear. It's a speculative bubble fueled by manipulation, fraud, and hype. From FTX's collapse to Binance's record fines, the crypto ecosystem is riddled with scams designed to benefit a few at the expense of the many. Don't fall for the hype. Understand what you're buying. And just because you buy it with some sort of good story doesn't mean you're understanding what you're buying. It has to be coupled with some sort of fundamental analysis. If I've convinced you that there's a better way to invest, join our community of like-minded investors. We have a community who share ideas and support each other as we navigate this market. Right now, we're offering a 7-day trial at everythingmoney.com, but it's not going to last forever. So take advantage of it while you can. $7 for 7 days. Click on the link in the description below to get access to everything we have to offer. We have a site full of amazing investing tools, which I use daily, and a community of people ready to support you when the market dips. It will be the best investing decision you've made all year. And guys, it truly is an investment. Thank you for your time.